This just in this morning. A little more than 500 folks in the Northeast Heights are now waking up with the power back on. P&M crews worked hard overnight to get the power turned on to the hundreds that still were left without it after the massive power outage on Monday night.
Yeah, a storm blew through with very high winds on Monday night and snapped a number of high voltage power poles and knocked out power to about 10,000 homes and businesses. This morning, there were still about 500 customers or so without power, but as we just mentioned, just before 5 o'clock this morning, all the power was restored. Also happening now, the Silver Fire keeps on growing, and it is getting dangerously close to a community in the Gila, which is just northeast of Silver City.
All the people who live in Kingston have been evacuated, but they're still very worried about this, the Silver Fire, that it could destroy their homes. Fire has burned 8,400 acres, and as of this morning, none of it is contained. News 13 pilot reporter Bob Martin gives us a bird's eye view of the fire from Sky News 13.
It is an intimidating sight for the firefighters protecting the evacuated town of Kingston. Flames and smoke creeping down the canyon, now less than a mile away. Most of the fire near town Tuesday night is moving along under the treetops, not very quickly. That is not always the case in the higher elevations and on the southwest flank of the fire. Here, thick stands of dry trees regularly explode late Tuesday, sending walls of intense flame through the forest. The flames are widely scattered throughout this part of the rugged Black Range. The steep terrain and scattered flames have combined to prevent firefighters on the ground from attacking directly. Even in the air Tuesday, there have been no strategic areas that it would be efficient and safe to attack with aircraft. So firefighters on the ground have gathered in Kingston with their equipment and portable water tanks ready to pounce on any flames that reach here. Patrols work the streets and roads throughout this area, keeping watch for spot fires. Forest experts say the intensity of the Silver Fire can be blamed not only on the thick, dry forest, but also on bark beetles that killed a large number of trees here, trees ready to help fuel a wildfire. In Sky News 13, Bob Martin near Kingston.
That's some amazing pictures there from pilot reporter Bob Martin. Now we have another wildfire that's still out of control. This is the Jaroso Fire. It's in the Pecos Wilderness. It charred about 6,000 acres so far. None of it is contained. These are more pictures from pilot reporter Bob Martin. Choppers, air tankers, and firefighters on the ground all had to get away from this fire yesterday because the flames were so intense. A bunch of dead trees are in the area. Wind blew them down about 6 years ago. Firefighters are concerned the fire will spread toward them and make the flames even worse. Thankfully, no homes or buildings are nearby.
Kristen, just like you said.
And take a look at this video. It's from YouTube that Goobers 505 posted. A group of guys caught right in the middle of the Tres Lagunas fire. The guys say they were on their way back from a fishing trip near Pecos. This is on May 30th, the day the fire started. You can see them drive by these flames at times just feet from them. They get caught up in the smoke, too. The Tres Lagunas fire has burned more than 10,000 acres, although firefighters now have it about 70% contained.
Jeez, that is really good video right there. Scary stuff.
It is scary.
And Kristen, you were saying yesterday that the winds were probably going to make it tough for the firefighters. Do they expect the same today?
The winds are going to be better today, so that helps. But it's still really dry and very, very hot, and particularly down toward the Silver Fire there. The concern there is wind, heat, and low humidities because of how dry it is, and there is even the possibility of a few dry storms popping up this afternoon. The wind won't be quite as strong as it was yesterday, but you're going to have the steady wind out of the southeast at 15 to 20, occasionally gusting up to 25 miles an hour. The humidity anywhere from 10 to 20%. Right now, up near 20%, but during the day, it could even drop down to 9% or so. So it is very, very dry out there, and so firefighters really having a tough time with that. And temperatures in the low 90s, so hot too, and it is just making things that much tougher. As for the rest of the state and up in the northern mountains where we're monitoring those fires, even drier this morning than it was yesterday, so we have very low relative humidity. Wind speeds won't be as bad this afternoon, so that will help things out. Winds could pick up a little bit more towards the end of the week, and then we're going to have to watch for that possibility of dry storms, maybe today and perhaps tomorrow as well. I'll have the details on that coming up in just a bit.
And you can always get the latest on the wildfires burning in New Mexico anytime on our website. Just go to KRQE.com. Here on the homepage, you'll find a wildfire tab. Click it, and all the information is right there. Elizabeth.
Well, it will be a big day in the murder trial for a former APD officer, Levi Chavez, the man who helped put the case against Chavez together. Detective Aaron Jones is set to take the stand. The defense plans to attack Jones's credibility and has already called him a dirty, dishonest cop. Yesterday, the jury heard what Chavez told investigators in 2007 when his wife died.
Did she ever try to hurt herself before?
Never, dude. She made so many threats. She made so many threats to hurt herself all the time.
His wife, Tara Chavez, was found dead in her Los Lunas home with a single gunshot to the head. Detectives initially believed it was a suicide. Well, yesterday, prosecutors showed a torn-up note found in Chavez's trash that reads, in part, quote, "I am sorry I wasn't good enough for you. I hope you'll now be happy," end quote. The defense says that is a suicide note. Prosecutors disagree, though, saying Chavez killed his wife to help cover up insurance fraud related to his stolen truck. We are in the courtroom for the entire trial. You can get the very latest updates on what is going on in our later newscasts and, of course, always online at KRQE.com. The father of a man killed by a state police officer has filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the department in federal court. In 2011, police were investigating a road rage incident involving Samuel Pauly's brother, Daniel, on I-25 near Santa Fe. Well, police went to the Pauly's home in Glorieta, but Daniel claims the brothers didn't realize it was police outside. They said that they thought it was someone coming after them from the road rage incident. Well, Daniel fired what he says were 2 warning shots in the air. An officer fired back, hitting and killing Samuel Pauly. In October, a Santa Fe grand jury ruled that the shooting was justified.
Well, the federal government now wants to know how former Congresswoman Heather Wilson earned almost $500,000 from New Mexico's national labs. A new report from the Department of Energy is asking questions about the $450,000 Ms. Wilson got from consulting jobs at the Los Alamos and Sandia national labs. The report says there is evidence that Wilson was lobbying the federal government for the labs. Now, they are not supposed to use Department of Energy money to pay for that. The report also says the companies that run the labs reimburse the Department of Energy for the money they paid Wilson for 2 years of her work. She starts as president of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology next week.